What is Mike Tyson's net worth? The richest boxer in the world. Stay tuned for more on the lives of rich people. Hello dear friends. Mike Tyson is a retired American boxer who was the undisputed world heavyweight champion in the late 1980s. At the time of this video, Mike Tyson's fortune stood at $10 million. During his heyday, Mike was one of the most famous and highest paid athletes in the world. He was the youngest champion in history at the age of 20. Unfortunately, he squandered or was embezzled from a personal fortune that, at the peak of his career, exceeded $300 million. Mike declared bankruptcy in 2003. According to the bankruptcy filing, he was then $23 million in debt. During his career, Mike Tyson earned at least $430 million in purses and endorsements, about $700 million adjusted for inflation. ESPN called him the youngest fighter in heavyweight history, and Sky Sports called him the most ferocious fighter ever to step into a professional ring. Although Tyson was a talented boxer, his reputation was tarnished by controversy in and out of the ring. Early boxing career. Tyson's first experience as a professional boxer was at the Youth Olympics, where he won gold medals in 1981 and 1982. He also competed in the 1984 Summer Olympics, but lost to Henry Tillman in 2 fights. Tyson's first professional fight was at the age of 18, and he defeated Hector Mercedes by TKO in the first round. This started a growing trend for Tyson, who often ended fights in the first round. Tyson went on to fight the opponents, who were more difficult than those he had faced previously, and many predicted he would soon become a star. Cas D'Amato died in 1985, and Tyson lost an important father figure early in his career. Many later stated that this would have a destabilizing effect on Tyson's future life. Breaking through. Tyson did make it into the world stage after his fight against Jesse Ferguson, which was nationally televised. After Tyson caught Ferguson with an uppercut that broke his nose, the result of the fight was clearly inevitable. Tyson won after Ferguson was disqualified for an illegal clinch. Another televised event occurred when Tyson faced Maurice Fraser, a former world title challenger. Tyson won by knockout in just 30 seconds. In 1986, Tyson defeated Trevor Berbick in the second round to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. In 1987, he defended his title against James Smith and became the undisputed world heavyweight champion. The same year, he fought Pinklon Thomas in a 12-round battle for the IBF title. This made Tyson the first overweight ever to hold all 3 major belts at the same time. In 1988, Tyson defeated former champion Larry Holmes and knocked him out in the 4th round. The same year, Tony Tubbs suffered the same fate when he was knocked out in the 2nd round. Tyson ended the year with a victory over Michael Spinks, although many experts predicted a tough fight for Tyson because of Spinks' technical ability. Tyson knocked him out in just 90 seconds. From that moment on, Tyson's career seemed to go downhill. After a series of personal problems arose, Tyson decided to fight Kevin Rooney, the man credited with turning Tyson into the best fighter since D'Amato's death. Although Tyson went on to win fights in 1989, his career was dealt a serious blow when he lost to Buster Douglas in 1990. Having lost his mother to a stroke 23 days before the fight, Douglas fought with passion and dedication. In the 10th round, Douglas pulled off a combination that sent Tyson to the canvas for the first time in his career. He was counted out by the referee in one of the most shocking defeats in sports history. Tyson went on to win in 1991 before legal problems halted his career. After being arrested for rape, Tyson spent 6 years behind bars. During this time, Tyson converted to Islam. Upon his release, Mike Tyson was required by law to register as a sex offender. Tyson's comeback was initially successful, and he knocked out several opponents to regain his 2 belts. However, he then lost his WBA belt when Holyfield returned from retirement to give Tyson a technical knockout in the 11th round. Tyson lost again in a rematch when he beat Holyfield twice, causing controversy, and was disqualified as a result. Worse, Tyson had his boxing license revoked in 1997. In 1999, Tyson returned to professional boxing to knock out Francis Botha, but returned to prison for 9 months after allegedly attacking 2 motorists. When he returned to boxing again from prison, he quickly knocked out several fighters in the first or second round. In 2000, he knocked out Luis Suarez in 38 seconds. Tyson's last professional win was in 2003 when he defeated Clifford Etienne in 49 seconds. After a series of rematch attempts, injuries and defeats, Mike Tyson ended his career in 2005. Career earnings. In 1987, Mike signed an 8-fight contract with HBO worth $27 million, which lasted until his fight against Alex Stewart. Tyson defeated Alex Stewart in 2 minutes and 27 seconds. He then signed a $120 million long-term contract with Showtime that covered several matches, including Holyfield 1 and 2. Over the course of his career, Mike has made at least $430 million from fights and endorsements. That's the same as about $700 million in today's dollars. For years, it was common knowledge that most of his earnings, at least his pay-per-view earnings, were taken by promoter Don King. A court case later revealed that Mike's contract with King entitled the promoter to 30% of his earnings. Technically, this was illegal in Nevada. It was alleged that after mysterious extra fees, Don would take 50% of the maximum amount before writing a check to Mike. The estimated fee would include $100,000 for the fight, with Don King's wife as a consultant fee. Don King's sons were also paid $50,000 in consulting fees for the fight. At the peak of his career, Mike was paying the president of the Mike Tyson fan club $1,000 a week. The president turned out to be Don King's daughter. On other occasions, his income was confiscated by creditors such as the IRS. For example, Tyson was paid $8 million for his fight with Danny Williams in 2004. Unfortunately, $6 million of that income was directly confiscated by the IRS, leaving Mike with $2 million personally for his efforts. Below is a breakdown of Mike's payments by fight between November 1986 and his last professional fight in 2005. As you can see, his biggest payday to date was $103 million, which he earned by fighting Lennox Lewis in 2002. Of that $103 million, approximately $75 came from a pay-per-view bonus. Spending a fortune. Mike led a lavish life at the heights of his career. He spent millions on mansions, cars, jewelry, extravagant gifts for strangers, and even a collection of Bengal tigers. His tigers cost $70,000 apiece and were kept in a purpose-built habitat in his backyard. Mike kept a trainer on staff for $125,000 a year. Mike lavished money on his entourage as well. As one example, he kept a man on staff whose sole purpose was to wear an army uniform and shout guerrilla warfare at press conferences. This man was paid $300,000 a year for his services. Mike was in prison from 1991 to 1995. In 3 years immediately following his release, Mike spent the following amounts: $4.5 million on cars and motorbikes, 19 cars he bought for friends, $400,000 on pigeons and various big cats such as Siberian tigers, $300,000 just for lawn and garden maintenance, $240,000 a month for walking around money he spent in his daily life on Flexi, $230,000 on mobile phones, pages and phone bills, $125,000 a year to an animal trainer to take care of the big cats, $100,000 a month for jewelry and clothes. He has also bought several houses. His 21-room mansion in Connecticut would later be owned by 50 Cent. This mansion had a nightclub and casino in it. Mike also bought houses in Las Vegas, Ohio and Maryland. His Ohio mansion had gilded furniture, pools and a basketball court. His $4 million property in Las Vegas was an 11,000 square foot mansion that he renovated from the ground up. Mike had over 100 cars in his lifetime. Some of them were extremely valuable and rare. He had a Bentley, which was one of 73 cars produced and was worth $500,000. After he wrecked the Range Rover in 1995, he told the repair shop to keep it. He often lent cars to friends and acquaintances and then forgot about them. He bought 20 cars at one car dealership in Las Vegas alone. At this dealership, Jim Chase Motors, Mike once spent $1.5 million in a few minutes buying 5 Bentley Azure. The dealer only had 2 cars in stock and the other 3 had to be ordered on an expedited basis from Rolls-Royce. One of the most outlandish purchases Tyson ever made was a $2 million gold bathtub for his first wife, actress Robin Givens. According to legend, he occasionally bought lavish gifts for strangers, such as a $100,000 watch. Paying for a personal presence. Mike has called Las Vegas his home for most of the last 2 decades. He makes his living in Vegas by appearing in person at parties and corporate events. Mike charges $75,000 for a 2-hour personal appearance. Other extravagances. Another legend about Mike Tyson and his money is the case when he found tens of thousands of dollars in his laundry basket. He had left the money there 2 years earlier. Be that as it may, Tyson takes responsibility for the irresponsible handling of the money. He said it was his fault, but he had a great time. Tyson filed for bankruptcy in 2007. Fortunately for Mike, he has had a bit of financial success in recent years. Today we estimate his net worth to be in the $10 million range thanks to his personal appearances, entertainment work, and the thriving marijuana business. Any boxing fans in the comments?